Apple's iPhone 6s is finally here, and it comes along with a new feature that you may not be familiar with. Today we're checking out the best 3D touch features, and some of you are probably thinking, how is this any different from a long press in Android, right? Well, its uses may not be very different at the moment, but the technology that makes this possible is a very different thing. 3D touch will actually sense the amount of pressure your finger applies to the screen and trigger various actions. So instead of a short press or a long press, 3D touch enables a soft press and a hard press. So you can tap on the display, but then you can go even further, quite literally, and press into the display at multiple levels. Once you've reached the amount of pressure to trigger an event, the iPhone will provide some slight haptic feedback to let you know. So what can this 3D touch thing actually do? First up, most apps on your home screen have secret 3D touch menus available. For example, if you 3D touch on an icon, the rest of the screen will blur out and your focus will be directed to a little menu which offers a variety of app-specific shortcuts. If you 3D touch on messages, you'll have the option to either create a new one or view previous messages. Do it on the camera app, and another set of options are available. The same thing applies to a lot of the stock apps in iOS, but there are also third-party apps like Instagram and Twitter and many others that take advantage of this feature, with more to come in the near future. Once you're inside of those apps, there are a lot of 3D touch features available as well, depending on where you are, but you'll need to know where to look first. Basically, any list view will likely have 3D touch features that go along with it. For example, in the Messages app, you can lightly press on a message to view or peek at the conversation quickly. You can release and go back to the previous screen, but if you see a little arrow at the top of the screen and slide up with the peek window, you'll have some additional options available. If you press even harder, the message will pop open, and this is true for many other apps with a list style view such as Notes and the native Mail app, but hopefully more support for apps like this will roll out in the future. Even image-based apps like Photos and Instagram have a peek and pop ability with 3D touch. It's a super helpful feature to have, but I'm not sure that it'll always save you time over the traditional way of taking a look at something quickly. The Calendar app also does this with events scheduled for different days, so if you 3D touch on a single day, you'll be able to peek at the schedule. Moving along, if you're inside of any app that utilizes a keyboard, there's a very cool feature to help with your text edits. So if you press hard on the keyboard, it'll actually turn into a mini trackpad and allow you to easily move the cursor to another spot. You can also press and slide in from the side of the screen to access the app switcher, or you can simply press harder on the edge of the screen for it. Both of them seem a little awkward though, but it's there if you need it. Apple's iPhone 6s and 6s Plus cameras come along with a new live photos feature, which will actually capture a second and a half of the action with audio before and after you take a photo. And this will allow you to animate your photo by pressing into it with 3D touch. And along with that, you can set these live photos as a wallpaper and even 3D touch from the lock screen to animate them there as well. One of my favorite 3D touch features has to be with system-wide links. And most anywhere you see a link, you'll be able to press hard on it and pop up a preview of that website. It works very similarly on MacBook as well if you have a Force Touch trackpad, but either way, it's super helpful and will save you some time if you're unsure about the page being linked. This will allow you to quickly preview it before launching into a full browser. I realize that there are no 3D touch manuals available, and because of this, you're kind of stuck just 3D touching everything to find out what really works. Luckily, these actions are fairly consistent across iOS, but until it's a regularly executed thing within all iOS apps, you'll still be poking around at stuff to see what works and what doesn't. So I hope you enjoyed the best features of 3D touch, and if you did, feel free to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe for my full iPhone 6s review coming up in the near future. Thanks again for watching, everyone. This is Dom, and I'll catch you in the next video.